Okay, how's everybody? Are we all pretty much got this together? So what we're going to do really quickly, because we have a small group here. Originally we were thinking about doing some breakout for 3 or 4 people in each session, but there's enough of us here that we could do it all as a group, because we're a pretty small group, and that would make it a little bit more intimate and a little bit more a little better for interchange. Could you guys move up a little bit here? Is that possible, so that we're not scattered all over the place? And what we can do is we can walk around also if you're having trouble seeing us or whatever. So what we're going to do is we give you this time to tell us who your current stakeholders would be and what the ideal stakeholder would look like for you in your best world, and how would they interact with you in that situation, and what do you want right now in your current state to happen with these stakeholders that are involved. So,
and if you could also tell us what hat you have on, so if you're a protected area manager, or if you're a destination management, or you're a professor, whatever hat you might be wearing, if you could let everybody know what that is, that would be great.
So let's start with this table here, and very quickly, because we're going to have more time later to develop this idea, and we're going to start doing crossover and how things intermesh, so we can see how this works. Let's get an idea from each of you on these 4 questions, and I guess we can start here, and if you want to tell us who your current stakeholder is, and just follow the 4 columns as quickly as you can. Try to make your answers, instead of long, like, well, my stakeholder is a guy who runs a business, is involved in developing the way that we drive from point A to point B. Instead of that, say transportation, so that we can, obviously sometimes they require more explanation, but the point I'm trying to make here is that let's try and keep it as condensed as possible. Okay?
As a consultant, I'm going to talk about the stakeholders and have something to do with the one of the itineraries that I have designed for destination, which is Peru, right? So it's a sustainable tourism product, right? So the stakeholders are first of all the tour operator that is actually promoting, that I'm using as a platform to promote my product. And that's the tour operator in Peru, that's my main tour operator. Then we have the people providing the accommodation, which are the hotels and the lodges, so the hotels for the cities and the lodges for the rainforest. People providing the food, so which are the different restaurants. Local guides that we work with. Transportation providers, so that can be from the airlines to the local land transportation, buses, and the boats, and providers of boat transportation. So river transportation, land transportation, and any other transportation providers. Then the NGOs, because as a sustainable tourism product, I work and support local research stations, so NGOs. And some of the NGOs also provide some of the accommodation. The research stations are being used also to provide accommodations for the tourists also. The schools that we support, so because it is sustainable, and it is about sustainable tourism and solidarity tourism, so we choose, I have a couple of schools that I support with my groups. So the schools, the tourists themselves, of course, and there are different other businesses that when we travel to destination we affect, from markets, supermarkets, etc. So I won't list all of them. So these are my current stakeholders and the local communities. The local communities, whether the indigenous or non-indigenous communities that we also visit, that are part of the itinerary. Yeah. Ideally, I would like to have more communities involved. So that's the current. I don't know where we are. Okay, so let's do for the current. Okay, the role they play. Well, you know, each of them. I don't have that column. I mean, I didn't have time to fill up all the column, but basically they all play. Let's say if it's about sustainable tourism, so the role they play in making sure that this is a sustainable tourism, you know, product. So my tour operator is very important because I chose a tour operator that does conservation through tourism. So it invests, you know, part of the benefits into conservation projects. So that's the tour operator. The hotels and accommodation also that I chose, you know, are also hotels and accommodation, and lodges that do have a kind of an environmental, social, economic policy. So that they work with some local communities, for instance, or they do, you know, they try to save energy and recycle their waste, etc. Food service is the same. It's very difficult as far as restaurants because I don't choose the restaurants, and it's very difficult to know whether their food is local food or they come from the local chacra in Peru, which is the land where, you know, they can put their own vegetable garden. Some restaurants they do have that in some areas. So sometimes when I choose, you know, and I go and put together my product, I go and look for restaurants that maybe have, you know, their own vegetable garden and make sure that the food is it's local. The local guides are being hired by the tour operators. So ideally, I would like the local guides to be more environmental conscious people. The transportation providers, where, you know, we try to, well, as far as transportation providers, it's difficult, you know, for them to be, you know, a green, you know, type of transportation, you know. So that's ideally, you know, I would like them to be greener. Okay, sure. So, and the local communities, they need to be more, the NGOs, I would like NGOs to participate in the training of the local communities as far as, you know, environmental education and sustainability. So.
Yeah. So, just as a background of what we do, my organization manages the national park system in the Bahamas. We're fairly unique in that we are an NGO that is assigned responsibility, and this is by national law. There is a national act that was created by our parliament and established us. So we manage 27 national parks. I would say that currently the ecotourism, nature-based tourism is at a very low level. Think about the Bahamas, you must get a vision of sun, sand, and sea. Large hotels, casinos like this property, etc. What we're trying to do, obviously, is still to encourage the development of small, medium enterprises that look at nature-based.
Okay, well, let's in order to follow this, so your stakeholder, the person that you have involved in what you do, would be tourists?
Yeah, so
NGOs?
So the Ministry of Tourism. The Ministry of Tourism is
also the government body.
Yeah. And their the role that they play currently is mostly lip service. and actually negative because the people in that ministry are trained for the very successful Bahamas mass tourism model. So when you approach them about things like ecotourism, there's a lot of support. The ideal role they should play is actually, I just have down here, critical. They should be a key supporter, for coordinating, encouraging, marketing for the operators of the product.
At a national level, I'm assuming you're talking about.
International, I mean national and international level. So I also have here stakeholders, current stakeholders, eco-tour operators. And the role that they play now, obviously, is that their employees get educated, they understand the value of the environment, and then there's a benefit to that. Ideally, I'd like them to do more give back to support community-based environmental projects, to support the environment that generates their, that supports their. The fly fishing is a big industry in the Bahamas. The fly fish lodge owners, the current role they play is minimal. They just basically bring in guests. Obviously, the important role that they could play is in fundraising for national parks and for community support.
So they can fish in the national parks?
Yeah, we have, yes, and they currently do fish in national parks, where it's an unregulated activity currently, but we're working on national plans for that now, so that will address some of these issues. Small hotel owners, not fishing lodges, but just general small hotel operators, and the effect is, it's basically similar to the lodges. The national parks themselves, so I have I've listed our national parks, and the role they play currently is, I would say, an emergent role as an important economic stakeholder. So, but it's really just emerging. And of course, the expectations that we have is that they will become key income generators to support the work of the National Trust, i.e. to support the park operations and also to provide benefits to the local community. And then there are big general tourism tour operators that operate in city centers, in New Providence, in two of our islands, Nassau, which is the capital. And the current role they play is minimal with respect to eco-tourism or sustainable tourism. But there's a great potential, and the ideal expectation I have of them is that they will link some of these large properties with eco-tours and eco-tour operators, on islands where there are national parks and mass tourism. The two obviously are not necessarily incompatible, and one can benefit the other. And I have a few other operators that I would like to be, stakeholders that I would like to be ideally involved. The dive operators currently, they operate and they dive. They take people into this liquid, which is water. They don't take people into this incredible ecosystem that needs to be protected. And so a mindset change for them will help bring funding for protected areas and for general marine conservation in the Bahamas. The hoteliers, the large hoteliers, again, the role they play with respect to sustainable tourism is minimal. But there is an opportunity for them to support nature-based tour operators and enterprises, and a great opportunity for them to become more sustainable in their operations. So while not necessarily, they won't ever be eco-lodges, but certainly they bring in a clientele, some of whom are high-end, some of them are looking for, while they're coming for beaches and maybe for a casino or whatever, they also would be very interested in going out to see some of the areas that are protected for nature. And then the fly fishing guides on some of these islands have an incredible role to play in fundraising, community support. Some of these people that can't do fly fishing, as you all know, some of the wealthiest people, and therefore they have the potential to provide a lot of support and impact. Okay. And I also have listed international academia. There are a lot of universities that come to the Bahamas and elsewhere in the Caribbean, and they do a lot of research. The current role they play is they sometimes help to identify sites that can support ecotourism. But my expectation is that they would do more. They would actually be more involved in quality assessment and product development of these sites, and using some of their work to really identify what are some of the threats and help ameliorate those threats, and what are some of the really nice sites, and to help to provide training for local guides, creation of material to support eco-tour operators, etc. I don't know if that makes sense.
Eric, I just want to, when I was in the Bahamas for a wonderful international bird conference that the Bahamas supported, we went diving and I was asking the dive operation, so does any of my dollar for this dive go into conservation? No. You know, and I thought, oh my God, you know, we're in this incredible dive area and there's the shark initiative and everything else, but zero of what I'm paying goes back into that research. So very critical point. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Susan from Jamaica. Earlier on when I introduced myself, I said I'm a consultant in protected area environment management, but a lot of my work experience previously was with managing a national park, working in an NGO. At least in a lot of the Caribbean and Latin America, you have situations where the government would establish national parks, but there's partnership with NGOs for management. And the NGO that I've worked with most manages the Blue Mountains National Park. And there are mainly 2 recreation areas within the national park. And over the last couple of years, we came up with a plan to establish a new destination in Jamaica. Like the Bahamas, Jamaica is known for some sea and sand tourism. And what we would like to do is to establish a whole new destination that would be an eco and sustainable tourism destination with a park at the center. Not necessarily establishing many more recreational areas within the park, but focusing on the communities around the national park so that people could come and spend several days. So that's just in terms of the background.
That's your ideal.
So that's where we want to get to. So in terms of, there's some things happening now, and one of the stakeholders is the national park managers. I think that has been mentioned, right? That's there already, national park. And the role that they play currently is, of course, to manage recreation areas within the national park, as well as conserving the natural resources, because if those aren't being conserved, who would want to come to the area? So they play an important role now, but in the future, the idea is the national park would play a more active role in helping to organize and coordinate this whole ecotourism destination. There's the tour operators, and most of the tour operators right now are very, very small, just carry a few mainly local people to visit areas, and but what we'd like to see them doing in the future, similar to what Eric said, is make more of a contribution. So if they're coming into the national park, yes, they pay the fee that their visitor pays over to them and they pass it on to us. But they're not making any further contribution at all. So we'd really like to see the tour operators making more of a contribution to park management and conservation of the area. There's a number of small hotels, guest houses, hotel accommodation in the area, and currently the role that they play is, of course, to provide accommodation for visitors, but in the future, in terms of our expectation, we would like to see them making more of a contribution to conservation, and letting their visitors know that there is a national park in the area and about conservation. Government, right? We have the Ministry of Tourism and its various agencies. Again, similar to Eric, the focus for our tourism agencies has been sort of mass tourism, some sea and sand, And although they are interested in ecotourism and, they'll come to meetings and I would like to see in the future them actually doing more to support and market and help us to play a role in actually developing that new destination. The local communities, I have that, we have some local communities that actually have small accommodations that can do tours, and we want to see them continue with that, but then there are other community groups that don't have any attractions or accommodation, that we'd like to see them develop the skills and the activities for visitors to participate in. And then we have other stakeholders in terms of, I separated my tourist stakeholders into